Well, hello everyone. Doing a short hike at the moment. I've come out of Las Vegas a couple of hours back into California, and I'm at a place called Dante's Point. It's fairly high up, and I'm just exploring the valley here. But just below me here, this is Death Valley, and that big basin of very pale coloured I suppose sand down the bottom is actually a salt flat. That is actually the lowest point in North America at 80 metres below sea level. So yeah, we're going to be heading down there soon. And then further up, that's the length of Death Valley. It runs about 220 odd kilometres up in that direction. It's about 21 kilometres wide. It's fairly relatively cool here, about 40 degrees, but I have heard down below in the valley it's 115 degrees Fahrenheit today, which is 46 degrees, so it's definitely going to be pretty warm down there. But I'm just doing a little hike along the ridge here, just having a look over the valley. It's very beautiful over here. Anyway, I'm going to catch you down the bottom of the valley soon, so I'll see you then. Well everyone, I've now made it down into Furnace Creek. It's a little town here in the middle of Death Valley, on the valley floor, and as you can see it's pretty hot here. This is actually the hottest place on earth, the highest recorded temperature ever recorded anywhere in the planet. It was here back in 1913. Got up to 56.7 degrees. Obviously it's nowhere near that at the moment. 47, that's the official. I think it was said 48 just before, but that's probably because of the radiation from the concrete. But they are predicting a high of 47 today, and yeah, it certainly feels like it's like being in an oven. Okay, we've now come about half an hour out of Furnace Creek. We've come to a place called Badwater Basin, which is part of the huge basin that we saw from the top of the mountain. Now this little pool of water, this marks the very lowest point of Death Valley, and is actually the lowest point in all the Americas. So I've now reached it. It's 85.5 metres below sea level, and just to give you a bit of an idea of what that sort of depth looks like, if you look up the hill there, about 2/3 the way, you may just be able to see a tiny little white sign. That indicates sea level. So if the sea was to somehow flood into here, it will actually be right up to the 85.5 metres. But because this is so dry and it's been isolated, and also because this area is actually sunken due to tectonic forces, with the Rockies, this is actually a very deep depression. So this is as far as we can come in the whole of the Americas, 85.5 metres below sea level. Now this feels just as hot, maybe even hotter than down at Furnace Creek, because it's all sheltered behind the mountains there. So at least 47 degrees, maybe even 48 or 49. So it's certainly very dangerous for hiking. So I'm actually in part of a guided tour today. I'm just making some brief stops, but it's absolutely fascinating here, just seeing these mountains just completely devoid of vegetation. So you can see all the different different types of mineral, and I've seen some quite large areas of copper. And further up the road there is actually a lithium mine, so I've never seen what that looks like before. So yes, it's absolutely fascinating here.
everybody.
Okay, we've come up the mountain a bit. This is a place called Artist Palette, and it's named because of all the interesting minerals in the rock here. There's a volcanic eruption about 5 million years ago, and it's left all these really interesting colours in the rock. This area is also famous for, in Star Wars Episode 1, they apparently ran part of the pod race movie scenes from this little valley here, and it's actually quite obvious when you see it. All these pod races coming up the valley here. So yeah, it's a very interesting little spot, this one. Well, anyway, thanks for joining me again today, and I'm going to catch you somewhere else a little bit cooler tomorrow. So until then, ciao for now.